Alright, this is a review for YouTube on the Cold Steel two-handed Katana Machete. We're going to get to the basics of it. I'm not going to do measurements because Cold Steel is really good about that. They've got all the measurements up on their page and their website, so you can check that out and get it straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. First off, this is truly a two-handed item. You know, this is one hand, two hand, three hand worth of space. I chopped off a good portion of it, as you can see. It's almost, well, it's about a third. When I got this item, I found that the handle was entirely too wide, and I found that it was entirely too long. Basically, I didn't like the way the handle was set up. What I did like about the way the handle is set up, though, is that it's very modifiable. So, I'm just going to show you a couple quick mods that I've done. There we go. So can you see the finger ridges I've included on this? And those that lie under the wrapping, I've actually filed or sanded and filed those out, straight out of the handle. And then I've also put a little depression here for the pad of your hand as you hold it. So you would be holding this as such, and for me this is, you know, a perfect fit. I've done this to fit my hand exactly. Yours might be a little bit different. In this configuration, this can be used with one hand very comfortably with no problem. I put wrapping on this because I don't like this plastic. This stuff has a bit of a sweating property to it, I find, when it gets warm. It sweats an oil or of some sort or another. Now, I had this machete custom sharpened by a local guy who's very good at what he does. And what I did is I had him sharpen this portion here to, right there, as a single bevel razor sharp edge. And then I had him sharpen this portion, including here, to a convex edge. So that way on the swings on trees and bushes and whatnot, you're hitting with the most durable edge that you can be using. However, I then had him sharpen this back portion, which I tapered out, to another single bevel razor, although it's nowhere near razor now. And the reason for that is so that when you're doing actual machete work, sometimes you come in and on your backswing it gets caught up on something, a piece of a tree or plant or whatever. And so with that sharpened, it tends to go right through. So this is primarily a tool, and I bought this from my towing company. Now the other thing I did with this is I added some serrations. The length on this, a lot of people don't like. This is a fairly long, here's my forearm, but a lot of people don't like that, and they call it a novelty item because of that. So what I've done is I've gone out and showed you what I do like this for. One thing I don't like about this item is it doesn't come with a proper scabbard. It comes with kind of a sheath, and the sheath in my opinion is not great. So I put this scabbard together. Maybe I'll do a video on how to do this one day. So that's not Cold Steel product. That's just my own little improvisation. I've done a few things like that in the past, and I felt that for this item, the tip is extremely sharp, very, very pointy, but the sheath that Cold Steel uses is not sufficient. So they don't sell the sheath with the machete either. They kind of put it on the side as an option, and I kind of get the feeling they probably don't sell very many of them. This I've had mixed feelings about. I would have liked to see a little metal guard on here of some sort. This is primarily, when you're using this as a tool, this would be a bit of a bash stop. So, you're hacking away and then boop, you hit a rock. Well, instead of hitting the rock with your hand, you're hitting it with this. Now, because it's this soft plastic, which is so easily workable, I get the impression that it might bend out of the way or get severely damaged without some sort of a cover, some sort of a metal reinforcement. It wouldn't be very hard to do, and I may do it in the future to this one. Just a little piece of sheet metal with a couple rivets into the handle. I don't know how well the rivets would work on the plastic though. So all in all, I really like this item. It's got its uses. It's not only a novelty item. It certainly is a conversation starter. Although it takes a few moments of explanation for someone to believe that you're not, doing lawn work with a sword. One other thing that I've noticed that Cold Steel doesn't really show is
how flexible this thing is.
Actually, okay, so we're in the vise. I'm going to go for an overhead shot here, and then hopefully I can do this without injury. As you can see, she doesn't take a set. And I mean, I've hit this thing really hard. Oh, I don't like that. I've hit this thing really hard, and it doesn't take a set. See? No problems. So, if you live in the coast, or you live in the mountains, and you've got some major bushwhacking to do, this might be the thing for you. So, this is a wild rose bush. And as you can see, it's quite thorny. There's like, what, 5 thorns per square millimeter on this thing? Anyway, there's a lot of thorns on these things. And in behind here we have some kind of a weed, which is also quite thorny. So it's a whole lot of unpleasantry. So, I've heard a lot of comments about how the Cold Steel two-handed katana machete, and we're just going to say the THKM from now on, is a novelty item and a conversation starter at best. I did spray a little bit, but there was some I couldn't reach. So now, why would I keep my hand down in here and risk getting shredded when I can just go and stick my THKM in there and rip away, right? Like I said, this has been sprayed, but basically this is what I like it for. Anybody that's ever used a machete could probably relate to this. Let's see if I can get a full frame in. As you swing down, a lot of times it'll carry, see up there, it's carrying this top portion. It'll carry that down. You'll get that across the back of your hands, or your arms, or whatever. And it's quite unpleasant, especially if you've got a lot to do. But with this thing, you can actually just reach in there in areas like this and cut things out. Almost everywhere I've lived has had really thorny bushes of some kind or another, and so I actually find that this thing is ideal for this. It might not be the ideal survival tool, but you get the point. My hands are clear of any scratchy, thorny unpleasantries, and it gets the job done. But as you can see, I can get in there and do what I gotta do, and I don't really have to worry about gloves or, you know, infections or any other weird stuff. I'm a toe guy, not a gardener. Another thing you can do with this, which I've done a few times, is stick the tip in and just pry things up and out. You don't have to bend over too much, which is nice. Just chopping out some areas here. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now, when you're actually going to really fix stuff, which I've done with this thing's a blessing. When you're not having to pick and choose what you're cutting here, when you're just swinging away randomly, get some berry bushes or something out of your way. This thing is great. I love it. So just being used with one hand gives you an idea of the kind of power this thing can deliver. Not a problem. There you go. That's my finger. That's the size of the rip. Finger, size of the rip. Finger, size of the rip. It's a pretty powerful item. You know, and it doesn't damage the edge at all. You know, it'll wear some of the paint onto it, but that's about it. So, if heavy duty is your thing, well, this might be the tool for you. Have a nice day.